Continuation of our April the 22nd board meeting is what we're doing. Look at our council. John, do we need to open it by vote to re-continue or give me some guidance? Here's the first time I've done
Did you
this.
do it by motion, second?
And move forward. So at this time, I entertain a motion that we open the meeting as a continuation of our April 23rd board meeting. So moved. Here, second. Have a motion, second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Based at this time, there's no other business other than, I think, the continuation at this time. We'll look at our council. Mr. Chairman, if you would give us reasons to consider going into executive session at this time, please.
Yes, sir. I understand pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, Sections A, 3, and 6, to consult with your attorney and to discuss personnel matters.
Closed session, as for instruction.
Okay, I have a motion. Here, a second.
Okay, we have a question.
Sir? Yes.
I know these people out here, they're not former students. I'd like for them to have a little bit of explanation on the process that we're gonna have to go through tonight. I'm not sure they're gonna be here when it's over, but I think there should be update on what we're gonna go through, and I think Dr. Duncan can do that, or I'll be glad to. The process that we're having to work through. I'm not saying that we go into, we don't know what the answer is yet until the board speaks, but we have two options. And, but I think you need to know, and I'll be glad to speak or.
I'll answer your comment this way, Mr. Shields. We're not in position to answer any questions right now.
Right.
I
I mean,
thought,
hypothetically.
well, even hypothetically, we don't really have an answer at this point until we've had a chance to talk. And what we will do is when we come out, the motion that we take that time will be self-explanatory, I think. And we're not going to be long.
Okay, so I just want to make sure, don't run off yet.
Exactly.
We don't know how these things work, but
I knew you did.
you have to sign in to speak, or?
Now, see, that's what I was saying. This is a continuation of a previous meeting.
Right.
So as such, there is not a public comment time. We also understand we're not, I'm trying to figure out what we quoted. We understand why you're here, and I'm not ignoring that. But right now, my answer to Ms. Shields is, we don't have an answer for you, or we can't tell you what action the board's going to take until we actually come out and we have a vote on what's called the consent agenda. What happened was in the last meeting, the consent agenda, which involved all matters of personnel, was tabled until such time as we had time to discuss it in closed session. And that's basically what we're doing now. We're going back into closed session to discuss items about the consent agenda. And once we do that, we'll be coming out, and based on what we do at that point, you will have an answer in terms of how we're going to proceed. Does that make sense?
Don't run off.
Okay. I think some of us are here just to show our support for education.
I can see and know, and I think also you have enough clout within your school and community to convey what we have to say when we come back out, and that you will understand where we're coming from, or why we have to make a decision. And you can convey that in your school, you can convey that in your community, and that keeps a lot of the rumor and misinformation from spreading too quick. So don't run off.
That's our promise. We're not going to be long because again, I'm not ignoring it. We know why you're here, but we will have an answer. But the reason I'm saying that, I can answer your questions right now.
Mr. Chairman, that public
Yes.
comment will become appropriate again at the regular May meeting, which is what, in about a week?
It's in a week, exactly a week from today, right?
What was that?
The public, what would happen would be based on what happens tonight. Then our counselor is telling us. Then at that time there would be a chance for we have a public comment. But we also realize that's over at Nantahala, which means a lot of y'all don't want to drive across the mountains all the way to Nantahala to do that. Nothing wrong with Nantahala.
Very scenic drive.
Yeah, it's a very scenic drive, but I don't think everyone wants to do that. So
As long as you're riding with somebody else.
If you listen to what we said at the end of this, I think it'll clarify a lot. I'll say again, go run off.
Thank you.
Because we'll be coming out. We're not gonna keep y'all. I think our media friends have accused us of of taking too long. Michael and I said, but tonight we
Oh,
understand
no, I've
that
never
we
said a
will not
word.
do that. I think, all right, let's correct myself. Did I think we did. And I think we had the vote. All in favor, just to make sure. Thank you, Stephanie. Is there any, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. This time, I entertain a motion to come into open session.
So moved.
Here a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. So moved. There are a couple of items that need to come before the board at this time, and we will take our time and make sure everyone understands what we're doing. The first, as I understand that, I think there needs to be a motion concerning our meeting that we had scheduled on the 20th. Is there a motion to come before the board at this time?
I make a motion that we will reschedule our meeting for Tuesday, the 28th, again, it will be in Nantahala, starting at 6 o'clock.
Second.
Have a motion and a second that we postpone our meeting originally scheduled for the 20th, and then have school that will take place on Tuesday, the 28th. Are there any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. At this time, and I think I'm right, Counselor, at this time, then will not become for the board any action on administrative contracts. Those will remain tabled, we will remain, keep those tabled until our meeting on the 28th.
Yes.
However, there is one other item that needs to be discussed and brought before the board for action. And I would ask Dr. Duncan if he would to remind the board what your recommendation and what the motion is that we'll be voting on tonight.
Okay, it's my intent to send a letter to each probationary teacher and those on lateral entry that they will not have a contract renewed for the 2013-14 school year. And the reason for my recommendation is the possibility of inadequate funding to support those positions. Then, by sending that letter out, I've complied with the state law of North Carolina, which requires notification by the 15th of May of my intent to non-renew these people in these positions. And then the board meeting on May the 28th, the board will either accept or not accept that recommendation. And that's my intent. And, Mr. Tenney, I don't believe there's any further.
I think you've said enough, sir.
I think, John, we need to have the motion to either accept or not, and then we can, if the board wants to have any discussion about that, we can do so at that time, following the proper rules of order. Is that right?
I think you can do that, yes, sir.
Superintendent is asking for approval of his recommendation that he send a letter out to the party's name showing that it is his intent to recommend to the board as of the 28th, the non-renewal of the contracts. However, that will come before the board on the 28th for either final approval. Am I stating that correctly, Mr. Higgins? That is what our superintendent indicated. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
In a second. At this time, there's any further discussion, and John, if I say something that you need to slap me on, then please step in and do so. I promise these folks are going to talk to them. That's what I'm planning on doing. Is that all right?
It is, yeah.
Okay. Folks, this is action required that's before the board. I want to make sure you all understand what we're doing. By law, our superintendent has to send letters out if that's what, and we're about the 15th. However, what we want to look at y'all and say is that you need, what we're hoping you understand is that there is no final action going to be taken tonight. That is not what we're doing. What will be taking place is that the superintendent will be sending a letter that will be coming to y'all. However, action on that letter and his recommendation will not take place until the 28th. What we are doing is we are postponing our meeting from the 20th until the 28th. It's our understanding that our Board of Commissioners will be meeting on the 20th, at which time we, as a board, will have much fuller understanding of what our financial status will be. So we are going to postpone our meeting to try to have that information in our hands before we make any type of decision. that directly impacts each and every the ones that are here tonight, okay? So that is what the board is being asked to do. I want to make sure you understand that is what is being done tonight. We are not taking action at this point saying you will not be renewed. But what we're approving is for the superintendent to do the proper thing, as he feels, is to send a letter saying it's his intent to come back before the board on the 28th. And we are going to accept his recommendation. We may not, depending on what we know at that point. Okay? Any other board member want to say anything at this time?
It's all about money.
You know where it comes from? Not us.
So, am I understanding it correctly that on the 28th, they may know?
We hope to have a better understanding of our financial status at that point, and we will be making an action on the 28th, yes.
We think the commissioners will have a meeting to discuss budget items prior to our meeting. We had a meeting set for the 20th. That's the same time they've got their meeting. So we still be at zero, we don't know what to talk about. So we can postpone our meeting for an additional week, so we can have whatever they decide on the 20th, hopefully, that we'll take that information, can make more sound decision on the 28th, which is the Tuesday.
We have a motion in front of the board. Any further discussion? If not, what is the favor?
Chairman, I
Yes.
just want to say one thing. When you say, I know it's said, but I guess I want to clarify as a board member, it's about money, about not having the money, but it's actually all about, and everybody on this board feels that way, about teaching our kids. And you guys are directly impacting our kids. So,
That's always in the back
yeah,
of my mind.
but so when we say it's all about money, we don't actually have the money to do that, but we're all of us feel it's about educating our kids, and you guys do that. I'm not even sure which one of you guys are teachers or not, because I'm sorry, I'm not, I only know one person down here, but I just want to, we all feel that way. It's, teachers are what makes our schools what they are.
Exactly.
And our kids what they are too.
What will happen if they don't have a budget by the 28th?
Then this board will have to make a decision. Either we're going to approve the superintendent's recommendation or we're not going to approve it at that point in time. We have a motion for the board.
Vic, I hope, that's why we moved ours, trying to get
At the same time, yeah.
make it more,
Hope I'm not sounding rude, but we do need to move forward with the motion at this time. We have a motion and we have a second that we approve our superintendent's recommendation. Any other further discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Is there anything else, guys, that I forgot or that we need to? If not, I intend a motion to adjourn. So moved. A motion, there, a second. All in favor? To adjourn? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Thank each and every one of y'all for coming. I will say this now, off the record, we know that all you'll have is the best interest of our students at heart, and we're very aware of that. Thank you.